Hi, today's video will be about fire kits and about the mentality behind building one. So this is my fire kit, which I'm currently using. It's in this pouch. It's a pretty big one. It could have been a bit smaller. It's not fully packed, but anyway, this is what I'm using at the moment. While I'm unpacking this, let's talk about the principle behind building a fire. So to create fire, you need three basic elements, let's say, known as the fire triangle. You need oxygen, you need heat or some kind of a heat source, and you need some kind of a material which can burst into flame. Well, you have oxygen, fortunately, pretty much any time. Or should I say, if you don't have oxygen, then your least concern is to build a fire. But for the other two, so the heat source and the material which can be ignited, I always used to carry both. Okay, so on this side are the heat sources, and on the other side are the fuels. Now, the rule of thumb is to always carry at least two types of heat sources, but the more the better. So let's start with this one, which is a Fresnel lens. Fresnel lens is basically a really compact and lightweight magnifying lens. And if you have sunlight, then you can use this to create fire with. And by using this, you basically don't use any of the other expandable materials, and you can use the Fresnel lens provided that you have sunlight unlimited number of times. Next, we have a big lighter wrapped in duct tape. Now this can be a pretty convenient option. It can provide flame pretty quickly, but it also has some downsides. For example, it can run out of fuel or gas. It can also get wet, and then you need to dry it out to get it working. When it's extremely cold, the fuel or the gas does not evaporate, and thus it renders pretty useless. You need to heat it up to get it working. So I always say that do not rely just on a lighter. Now the duct tape has multiple purposes. It can be used for repairs, and the duct tape itself is also pretty well combustible, so you can take small strips of it and light it. Next, we have wind and waterproof matches in a waterproof container. Now I think these are a pretty great option. This can be better than a lighter. But even if you are pretty good with them, the number of fires you can get out of these equals the number of matches you have. So this can be expanded pretty quickly. And last but not least, we have the trusty ferro rod or ferrocerium rod. I like to keep this with its own striker to have it as a bundle, as a standalone bundle. And even when it's wet, when it's cold, it works regardless. Usually when I have a knife with me, I used to use the spine with it because I have greater leverage. So yeah, with this you can basically light thousands of fires, but of course you need to practice with it. And here, besides the ignition sources, on the right side we have the fuel materials. I used to carry three, one natural and two man-made. For natural materials, I used to carry fat wood, which I think it's one of the best natural options for fire lighting. And for man-made, I have two. One of them is called, I think it's fire strip roll. How you use it is you break off a small section of it, you fluff it a bit up, and you tear it to expose these small fibers, and it can catch pretty easily a spark from the ferro rod. It's also waxed, so even if it's got wet, it can be still used. And then we have these, which I make at home. These are one of my favorites. Basically, these are cotton pads, 100% cotton, with a few drops of lighter fluid on them, and then dripped into melted candle wax. Then taken out, set it aside, let it cool, and it becomes this hardened puck. And how you use it is you break it open and you tear it. With it you expose these soft inner fibers with a bit of lighter fluid on them, and it can easily catch the very first spark from a ferro rod and ignite. The wax serves double purpose. First of all, it protects it from moisture, so you can even drip this into water and use it straight away once you wipe it off. And it also extends the flame, so it can burn pretty long time. And lastly, if you have eagle eyes, you might have spotted the fourth item here, which is in its own category. It's a simple tea candle. This can have multiple purposes. First of all, it can act as a small light source, also a small heat source, also a so-called flame extender. So for example, if the kindling which you collect is very wet and you need to hold it on an open flame, instead of holding an open flame like from a lighter, you light this candle up, which becomes a flame extender, and with this you expand not the fuel from your lighter, but the wax from the candle. And lastly, a short demo about these pucks. Now I used to cut into them because it breaks a bit more easier that way. There are these small exposed fibers. Place it on a surface. And then simply use a ferro rod. So as you can see, this burned for quite some time, more than 7 minutes and still counting. So it's almost guaranteed to work even in the wettest and coldest conditions.